was that?
The sound a little dick makes.
Hey, everybody, look. It's Haji, my co-star from Tex Johnson.
My name is Keith.
It's Buster Balls. How they hanging? Oh!
Adam King gets $75 per signature.
Howdy bear.
Right. Green is for the money, gold is for the honey.
Gil is the Tony Montana of Supercons. We dress up, we steal the stash, and we walk out like nothing ever happened.
You guys know this is a dumb idea, right?
Oh, yeah, we do.
I'm in. Sid, what do you think? You in? The Adam Kings of the world? They're robbing from us. We want to take it back for the fans.
This kid just monologued me.
Let's rob Supercon. We have to get that money before it gets backstage and in the King's hands.
Are you wearing heels?
Well, more of a go-go boot, but yes.
I can't believe that you got... Jesus. It's like making out with David Lee Roth. Go!
This is busting. Oh!
What the...
There they are.
What the hell? Oh, my...
We are on the telephone, old-fashioned, old-school telephone style with Freddy Waff and Zak Knutson.
Hello.
A couple of the gents who created Supercon, which Freddy told me about this film because he knew that we're convention people at Night of the Living podcast. And when I watched this, I was like, we've had these thoughts at plenty of shows. Not that we would do what these characters do in the movie, but we always expected that some of the guests one day are gonna just have enough and be like, I'm gonna take this place down. So so I want to know more about Supercon, like how this came about, like what inspired the idea and the tone of the movie. So Zach, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I guess some people are calling it Galaxy Quest meets Ocean's 11. I kind of like to say it's the cast of Caddyshack meets Galaxy Quest and Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
100%. I've heard that years ago, somebody had told me that Dragon Con down in Atlanta had been knocked over for about $100,000 by guys who dressed up as stormtroopers. And if you know anything about Dragon Con, there's a massive cosplay parade that takes place at the end of the con, or during the con, that takes over downtown Atlanta. And these guys dressed up as stormtroopers stole $100,000 and snuck out when the 501st, those guys who all dress up like stormtroopers, and there's like 500 of them, and they swooped out. And I thought, God, what a great idea, kind of for a movie that you haven't seen, because you've seen heist movies, but they all take place in banks or, Pelham 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. You haven't seen that setting in a con. And I just thought with the characters and all that kind of stuff, so I threw it at Dana Snyder, one of the writers, and we brought in Andy Sipes and we wrote it out, and here we are.
This movie's a lot of fun. The vibe reminds me a lot of like Mallrats or Super Troopers, which I think, with Super Troopers 2 coming out the week before this, I think this makes a great double feature. So if you're a fan of that kind of comedy, I think you'll like this. I love that you're kind of like, I love the comparison to Caddyshack that you made too, because I feel like you didn't tone down the behavior of these characters to fit, like, you know what I mean? Like, we
could have gone a lot further, I think.
Yeah. Well,
you mean it's not? Are you saying it's not politically correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I would not call this movie millennial PC.
Your characters don't have to be super duper likable all the time if they're funny, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I've always kind of fought that argument too. Like, oh, your characters need to be likable. I don't think they need to be likable. I think they need to be interesting.
With Russell Peters, I love this character and his whole backstory with he and the Clancy Brown character. And I was kind of wondering, like, what inspired this. I have my own ideas of what you were drawing from here, but like this child star, I'm wondering like what you were drawing on for that story.
Well, the real origin of kind of where it came from was our buddy Keith, who's Indian actor, and we used to call him the most angry man on the planet because he was just pissed off at the world. Because no matter what audition he went on or anything like that, it was for a cab driver or a call center guy. He goes, God damn it, we do other things. Do other things. Like he'd just freak out and get pissed off. And we thought it was just his anger was funny. So we said, oh, well, Keith's got to be in the movie. And then when we started playing around, we were like, well, what if he was kind of like an 80s star, kind of like, you know, like an Ernie Reyes Jr. or, you know, I mean, the Gary Coleman is kind of obvious. But we tried to find these other little characters and things, and then we found this clip of, what's his name? Haley Joel Osment from Conan, where he did a Walker, Texas Ranger when he was 5, where he tells Walker that, it's okay, Walker. Or he goes, it's okay. Walker told me I had AIDS.
I remember
real line. Conan O'Brien played that clip forever. We wrote it in. And that's kind of where it came from. And then when Freddy kind of jumped on, he found Sidekicks with Ernie Reyes Jr. And he showed me that. And then we did a kind of a mix of that with Walker, Texas Ranger. And that's kind of where that kind of came from.
Yeah, I suspected as much.
But you've seen Sidekicks, right? I know you have.
Oh, absolutely. I used to watch Sidekicks. You're talking about the TV series, right?
Oh, yeah, with Gil Gerard.
Yeah, that was pretty great. Anything with martial arts in it as a kid, I was all over it. But that's
I was
some good
crazy
stuff.
for it.
Yeah, Clancy Brown, Adam King. This like we were saying before we were having technical difficulties recording. You had brought up this is like kind of a Shatner-esque blowhard kind of character, but we're not saying Shatner's a blowhard. We're just saying yeah.
Right. No, of course
Shatner's easy because we can kind of, everybody's heard the stories of Shatner not getting along with all his co-stars and being assholes. But I can tell you right now, we definitely did not base it on Shatner. It is based on a couple real events, but the character itself, really, we kind of wrote it down, and then Clancy just kind of took it and ran with it. Like the hair is all Clancy's, the orange on his face is all Clancy's. He came with a lot of that stuff.
I love it. I watched this with my mother and my sister, and at one point my sister said, ew, when he was brushing his chest hair in the mirror. And I was like, yeah, I said, I think that's what they're going for here.
That's just called sexy.
Yeah, man, totally.
So did you guys make Clancy Brown do any Mr. Krabs impersonations on the set, or?
Didn't do that, although at one point it was kind of awesome. At one point Clancy picks up a sword, and there's kind of this really terrible action sequence. And one of the camera guys leans over to me, he goes, hey man, I just wanted to say thanks. I go, for what? He goes, you kidding? Can I swear on here?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, he goes, I just want to say thank you. I said, for what? He goes, because you put a sword in the Kurgan's hand, man. That's fucking awesome. And I didn't even think about it until I was like, oh, shit, I kind of missed an opportunity. But his
career is so great.
Clancy was a blast. Yeah, it's fun.
He's an Ohio
boy,
too, I think.
Zach, he didn't do Mr. Krabs, but he did do a pretty kick-ass Sean Connery impersonation.
Oh, totally. Matter of fact, there's a scene in the movie where there's a scene in the trailer where he kind of reads Mike Epps' The Riot Act. And we had done another scene in there, and we had to move it around and whatnot because it was just money or whatever. So we were in this kind of like motorhome. And Clancy started telling a story about how on Highlander, once a week, Sean Connery would pull the director and all the producers into his trailer. And he'd just walk back and forth reading them the Riot Act. Just going, you guys need to do this, blah, 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 on that Sean Connery, my terrible. And he was telling it, he was walking it, and I just kind of went, okay, so in the movie, that's kind of our ode to Sean Connery, because we literally just set it up like that.
I love it. He was so good at playing the obnoxious. I mean, I've seen, like you said, you can see the inspiration from reality here. I've met people just like this Adam King character at shows, which, you think you're like characters like that only exist in movies, but the truth of the matter is, I think a lot of these people who've been in the industry too long, they become caricatures sometimes, especially the ones with big egos.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, it's just pretty great.
Freddy and I we were sitting around talking about, okay, Future Force. What is Future Force? It always go back to everything kind of exploded off Adam King. It's like, where was this guy? What kind of show did he do? We have to keep it away from Star Trek and Star Wars, but in here, so it was fun. It was a lot of fun, especially that character.
Yeah, and he really relishes like torturing the character Keith, the Russell Peters character. It seems like they never moved past the bully victim relationship, and it's been like 30 years or something. Yeah, that was
that was kind of based on an idea that we had when we were writing. We're like, should it be different? But then I think Andy had his high school reunion or something, and 20 years had gone by, and they all went to their high school reunion, and everybody slipped right back into those high school kind of cliques. 20 years later, everybody's done different things. They got kids, they got wives, they got different jobs, they live in different parts of the country. But they all came back together, and they all kind of slipped right back into those old roles. So we decided to kind of let's just keep it like that, because I don't think much would have changed.
Yeah, and then I find it interesting, too, that Ryan Quanten pops up and I get the impression that he's kind of the most successful of this group of friends who are doing these conventions. I don't know. I mean, you don't really lay that out there necessarily, but he seems like he's got kind of more of a successful life than the Keith character does. When they're checking in, at least, he's still got his looks.
Yeah, right. I mean, his character's just got that thing of, everybody's got that friend who is pretty good looking, doesn't work a lot, but doesn't try too hard at life, but seems to be successful and seems to have fun. And we just kind of went, it's kind of like that. Plus, we kind of wanted to have that air of Chevy Chase in there somewhere, and I think that character is the one that kind of deserved it,
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. And then Maggie Grace rounds out like this trio. She's a comic artist, correct? The character that's kind of how they know each other is through the conventions. It's not that they actually work together, but they appear at these conventions together.
Yeah, the thing is, there's a weird community that goes on at these cons if nobody's been to it, where some of these guys will see each other for 3 days every week. They'll see each other Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they kind of have these relationships with people, even though they never go to each other's house or see each other, talk to each other on the phone. They'll just see each other on the weekends. Like, I'll see you in Tampa next week. Okay, I'll see you in Seattle next week. It's kind of an interesting kind of way it kind of plays out.
Yeah, it really is. It's like a whole nother lifestyle. I don't know how they get by doing, honestly. We do 2 conventions a year, and then sometimes we do a third, and I'm like, oh God, if I had to do this every weekend, I'd go bonkers. I kind of like get, I love
you rob the place is what you do, Freddy. You rob the place.
I'd end up robbing them. But I mean, I love the conventions; they're fun. But like it amazes me that I guess the psychotic element that kind of pops up in some of these characters. If you live the convention life, you get why some of these people are so close to the edge anyway. Especially,
totally.
Yeah, the character of Brock, who is kind of the wild card. And I think he steals the show throughout the whole film. Brooks, is it Brooks Brasselman? Is that how he pronounces his last name?
That's it. And you're right about his name, and you're right about him stealing the scene.
Oh, he's so great. And like he's done work on like Aqua Teen and stuff, right? Like I think like voiceover stuff. His timing is so great. Not to mention physically watching, he's like channeling Paul Lynde like nobody's business through most of this movie. And
I'm so glad you said that.
Thank God
you said that.
Finally.
Yeah, was nobody getting that? Because he's so on the nose, like, and it's so perfect.
Here's the other thing. We've been showing this to a lot of people who are under the age of what Paul Lynde would normally, appeal to.
That makes sense.
They just have no clue. And plus, one person I was reading online, they saw Paul Lynde clip and they thought it was offensive because he was so overtly gay.
Oh, they didn't get that he was Paul Lynde
wasn't even out at that point. You're getting mad at him for being out at a point he wasn't at. It's like, oh, calm down, sit down.
I know. It's funny.
Everybody loves Paul Lynde.
Paul Lynde was great entertainer, very troubled man from what I understand, but a great entertainer. Yeah.
There's great stories.
But like this,
that's what Freddie and I'd end up doing. By the way, we'd have a meeting and we'd slowly do this. We'd start about one thing and then all of a sudden go off about 20 different tangents.
Oh yeah,
that's what life's all about.
Yeah,
man.
this is just like a daily 3 times a week phone call between Zach and I.
Exactly.
And now you're here to mediate it.
Welcome.
I'm the head of the asylum today. I was really blown away too that this kind of comedy, which is like the rowdy house of comedy, and then in your second act, John Malkovich turns up. And I'm like, wow, you got John Malkovich to do like this kind of comedy, which he's great at comedy, and I've seen, he's SNL and everything. But this is again, it goes back to, it's kind of like Brian Cox and Super Troopers, or any of these seasoned actors that kind of bring this whole different vibe. And I think
I wanted to pitch Sony because we have a tagline that says they've been cosplayed for the last time. I was like, why don't we just be honest? Say Supercon, and it's got John Malkovich. Is that what everybody says when they see the poster? Yeah, right. It's got John Malkovich.
Like, is it John Malkovich? Yeah, and that's we're just like, and he's such a great character that you've written for him. Was this role written for John Malkovich, or is it just you guys got really, really lucky?
No, we got extremely lucky. It was written. Essentially, we wrote it for like a Stan Lee type, and really, what I was thinking was really maybe not even when John, because it was written for a guy who was in his 90s. John's obviously not in his 90s, and so I kind of, when John read it, and he was kind of like, because I thought he'd go after Adam King, and John read it, and he said, I kind of like this guy. He pointed at Sid, and I said, Sid, really? He goes, yeah, I'd really kind of like to get a speech out of him. I was like, done, taken care of. So I kind of went home over the weekend and I tweaked the script to I kind of modeled his character. I mind saying, kind of modeled his character after Jim Starlin.
Yeah.
The guy who created Thanos and the whole thing that Marvel's doing kind of right now. I kind of based it on him and wrote this kind of speech where he just goes after Clancy, and he was like, I'm in, done, we're good.
Yeah.
So, I was just kind of in shock, like, I can't believe he's doing this movie.
That really, his performance too also like takes the movie somewhere I didn't expect, as far as just the tone, and like you get so much more jazz for ultimately what's coming in the third act, because his character, for fans who go to these conventions all the time, and this is the argument you hear all the time with like the creators, the writers are always given short shrift and treated like second class citizens compared to the people who are, no offense, but like directing the movie and acting in the movie, or whether it's comics that are inspiring something, like in this case, inspiring the TV series. It's such a great moment for that character to have that writer character be like, I'm going to get mine this time finally. Like he's been pushed around for forever. And you see that happen so much. It's just really a great moment.
I love the fact that he's not going to do anything. And then when push comes to shove, he's not going to let anybody down.
Yeah.
But he's going to screw over Adam King. Like, all right, I'm in. I kind of like that. Let's do that. That's fun.
And I don't want to spoil you how that turn happens, but I thought that was really a sweet moment in the film. I think, all these movies, you can get as rowdy as you want, do these kind of comedies, but when you have that little bits of humanity, it just makes it so much more worthwhile. God,
that's great.
Yeah, so I had a blast with it. It was really fun, and by the end of it, it was one of those things where I was like, I could see myself going back to this and sharing this with especially my convention friends, because it's just so much fun, and there's so many relatable bits and there's such a large group out there of people who regularly attend these types of shows. I think you'll get a lot out of it.
Well, that's the thing. And now, once you start reading some of the numbers on conventions, I think cons made more money than National League or than the NFL, MLB, and the NBA last year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Think, because there's so many of them every weekend now.
Yeah.
It's become this massive industry.
Yeah, it's wild that you just know you can go to a place and connect with thousands of other people who have a shared interest with you, and you don't feel like you're, it used to be like, I think culturally we're so much more diverse now that people are willing to admit that they like to sit on their ass and watch TV and movies. And, and we're like, I'm so into it. Like, I'll binge the show, but who am I going to tell that I binged this 3 seasons of, Babylon 5 and talk to them about like what happened on those seasons? It's like everyone's come out of the closet. And I love the idea that it's become such a big thing that you can actually make a film like this that pokes fun at it, and it's going to connect with people who visit these shows. In a way,
and a lot of people in the fan community, they're not burned yet. They're not hardened.
Yeah.
So when all of a sudden we say we're going to do a movie about it, it's like, well, when we were down in New Orleans, Freddy found all those local comic book guys. He found them, and they do the cons down there, and he went down there and talked to them, and they ended up doing a lot of work for us because they were just so happy to be involved. Freddie can tell about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the guys, they literally, it was make or break, because everything you see on the con floor, those are all real artists. They all work the circuits down there. They're legit dudes, and they all got their own comic thing going on. And they're all super talented. And, I'm friends with all of them now. I mean, I talk to them, not daily, but weekly. I mean, I get emails from Ted Wally, Derek. I mean, all of them, some great people. And they were so into the movie. I mean, from the moment I met them at a comic book shop out in Metairie, they were doing a drink and draw. And, I went there and I was like, didn't know any of them. I sat down and talked with them with a bottle of whiskey. And then, 20 minutes later, they were like, we're in. It was pretty unbelievable.
That's awesome. I got to ask you too, Freddie, like, because you went straight to the community that this movie's about. I noticed like there's that kind of backlash against shows like The Big Bang, and where people who are in the culture feel like maybe they're being poked fun at, that they're the butt of a joke or something. Did you guys experience any of that making this movie, where people were kind of precious and protective of the culture, or was it more like people were open to it?
Nobody I know, but that's because most of the guys I know are pretty satirical in the first place. I'm sure there's going to be some, but I think when we're writing the movie, we had a very conscious, like, we're not going to go kid gloves. We're not going to go gloves off, but at the same time, everybody's going to try to get hit. If we hit everybody, then it's fair. And I think that's kind of what the movie does. I think we try to go, hey guys, when you're dressing up in cosplay 3 days, and you're doing this, yes, people can say things, and there are funny things that happen with it. We can play with it, and it's okay. And at the same time, the jocks, the assholes, I always love the guys who like sit around and bitch and like, oh, these fucking nerds running around. Meanwhile, every Sunday they're wearing their fucking Raiders gear, their goddamn Viking shit, and their face painted and everything else, and they're calling somebody else a nerd. It's like everybody's got their nerddom, people. You just got to own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's. I think the thing is these guys. We were earnest with it, and they're film fans, and I'm a film fan. Zach's a film fan, and and these guys were like, you guys are, we're not poking fun at them. They're, we're part of them. I mean, I'm as big a nerd as any. I mean, I'm such a fanboy of so many things. We don't have enough time to talk about it. But I mean, and I think that us, the earnestness and the excitement. I mean, I was excited. I'm still excited when I talk about the movie now. And I just think that they, those guys were like, we didn't go there and try to hustle them, or I was totally like, look, dudes, this is what it is. We're making a movie, and I kind of gave them the basic ones, and they just literally were all in because, it's what they want. They knew we were being honest with them, and they were just like, it was an honest look at, it's what they do, it's what we like to do. And like Zach said, it's like, everybody's got their thing. And And I feel like most of the cosplay people I know in the comic, the people that in this world are way cooler than, I've never been attacked by anybody in a cosplay outfit in a parking lot after a convention, but I may have been punched in the face at a Raiders game.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's the thing. I was laughing with my wife the other day because I think it was Vice or somebody did one of these things on, the Michigan militias, and these guys are training with weapons and blah, blah, blah. I was like, shit, man, go to a fucking con. I said, these kids have been getting the shit kicked out of them for fucking 10 years, and now they're making weapons. And not just making weapons, they're making cartoon weapons with LED lights that open up and split out, and they work. These guys should be working for the fucking Pentagon, man. They're
That's
on
true.
it, and they make them look cool.
Yeah, it's a good time. It shows. I think the fun that everybody had really shows. It's a blast. You guys. This was all shot on location in New Orleans, right? The whole film.
Yeah, pretty much. We shot in New Orleans. Most of it was shot at this place called the Ontario Center in West Wego, which was 15, 20 minutes outside. 15,
Yeah, it was only
outside New Orleans.
Yeah, it was across the bridge on the is the West Bank? Yeah, it's just outside New Orleans.
So did you? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Freddie.
No, it was just we were just a short drive from lovely downtown New Orleans.
Yeah, we were living. Freddie and I lived in the same building. We're right below the French Quarter, above the Garden District or whatever. It was great. I loved my time down there.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, was this your first experience being in New Orleans for any extended period of time?
For me, it was. Freddie had been there, which was nice, especially since we're in the same building, so I could ask Freddie, like, where's this? Where's that? Where do we go? Then the other nice part was Brooks, who plays Brock in the movie. He actually lives in New Orleans. He's hardcore native New Orleans. Like, his family goes way back. He's got the whole thing. So Brooks was there, and Brooks kind of took care of all that stuff too. So it was nice. It was really good. I really enjoyed the experience.
One of the reasons I ask about that is when I was a kid, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with New Orleans because when I was a kid, I had to go there in the summers because we have family there. But I didn't get to do any of the cool stuff like hang out in the French Quarter, drink, hang out with voodoo people, get boobs flashed at me, all that stuff. I missed out on all that good stuff. And then and now I have to go back as an adult, and I'm just a little jealous that you guys got to spend so much time there eating beignet and whatever else you did.
You know what? I'll say this. Just don't go there in the summer.
Yeah, it's awful.
We shot the movie in July. Like, the worst possible time to shoot that movie. I was terrified because I was like, people are going to pass out and die. Because they got these, we had people dressed up in full makeup. They show up like that. Then it'd be 100 degrees, but with that damn heat index, it was 120.
And then the mosquitoes would carry people away.
I think oh, God. Yeah, that's the only bitch of the bunch is that first morning when you walk out to go to the office and you're going from 70-degree air conditioning to all of a sudden it's 7 o'clock in the morning and that brick wall of humidity hits you in the chest.
Yeah.
And you're
it's like someone runs up and turns a hairdryer on in your face. And everywhere you go, there's just like there's like this warm breeze on you, but it's everywhere. It definitely takes some getting used to.
In the world's most aggressive mosquitoes outside of Vietnam, the mosquitoes in the whole state of Louisiana are monstrous.
Yeah,
but the food's great. So what are you gonna do?
There you go.
Yeah, totally.
It's called, hey, you want to make a movie? It's going to shoot in July in New Orleans. Fine. Okay.
All right.
No. You got it.
But man, I love the city, man. It's I'd work there anytime, July or not.
Yeah.
I work there. I've worked here in every season. I'm going to tell you this. The thing you don't know is come October, November, it gets real cold in New Orleans as well.
Yeah.
It's the moisture in the air, and when it gets cold, so as hot as it is in the summer, it gets that cold in the winter and it goes right to your bones.
Yeah.
So.
I think I'll take the heat. I'm a California pussy. I'm going to take the heat.
I do enjoy the heat for the most part.
Me too. I'm up here in Cleveland, and it literally has snowed every day since I've been here.
It's really weird, though.
and it's almost May.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'm not built for the cold. I'm such a baby.
So
I have too many metal parts in my head, in my body, too much metal in my body.
So I take it the locals down there in New Orleans embraced you guys when you were filming, and you have a good experience.
They could not literally have been better. Because when we were there were two other movies shooting. There was Logan, Wolverine, and then there was Mudbound. So we're the last one to come out, and I've had more people hit me up because we had a bunch of people who kind of worked on both or whatever. And they were like, "We know what those movies are, but we want to see yours, man. This thing's crazy. We want to see what's going on." So I feel really good about that. If the people who worked on it still want to see it, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm not knocking the other two movies, but I'm just going to throw this out there. Our movie was a lot more fun to work on, I guarantee.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
No doubt.
Was it 18 days of it we shot in an air-conditioned convention center. So, the rest of them, they didn't have that. I guarantee. On Wolverine, they certainly weren't in an air-conditioned environment for most of the shoot.
Yeah, I talked to him. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say I talked to there was an actor friend I knew who he said that he was always picking roles on whether he got to sit down or not. It was all
on which one? Sorry, you broke up.
Oh no, I was saying I had a friend who said whenever he was trying to get roles, he was always looking to see if he got to sit down for the majority of the shoot or not. It was like his whole.
Oh yeah,
oh man,
that's a big act. That's your buddy's a true actor. What do I got to wear? Where do I got to sit? That's usually the first thing. Matter of fact, I tell actors the first times I meet them if they're going to be in the movie, I'm like, when you run through wardrobe, make sure they have decent shoes for you. Because if you don't have decent shoes, you're not going to be happy. And if you're not happy, I'm not going to get a performance. So wear decent shoes. Like there is a practicality to it involved.
Yeah. It's just not the glamour that you think of. Comfortable shoes, just like Forrest Gump always said.
Telling you, man. Yeah. Completely.
You can ask any of the strippers that work in the bars in the Quarter about comfortable shoes, and they will tell you. It's all about comfortable shoes. I wouldn't know. I've never been to a strip joint in New Orleans, but I'm just saying.
Well, I had a great time with Supercon, and is it a wide theatrical on the 27th?
No, we're opening up on the 27th in 10 theaters against what is probably going to be the biggest movie opening since The Force Awakens. Our movie that has superheroes and comic book conventions is opening up against the Avengers. It's Infinity Gauntlet, whatever they're calling it now. Yeah. So buy your ticket to Supercon. And then I don't care.
Then go see. Yeah.
I mean, it's 10 feet. Look, we know what we're up against on this one.
Yeah.
That's why. But it's coming out digital at the same time. So if you can't get to the theater, if you want to go see Infinity Wars, trust me, I get it. I did a couple docs for Marvel. I want to see how this thing ends just as much as anybody. But we're going to be on digital, so you can iTunes it, and Amazon, and all that kind of stuff. And then it comes out on DVD, hard copy, on June 5th, I believe.
And I feel like if you go to see Infinity Wars and then you're like, hey, let's stop at the liquor store and go home and watch Supercon, it's a great follow-up.
I tried to make a pitch to Sony. I was like, let's come out on 420.
Yeah. That was like,
420 just makes, they're like, Super Troopers coming out on 420.
Yeah.
I was like, but not on 5,300 screens.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll take it where I can get it. Hopefully, it just primes people that want to keep seeing funny stuff. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it's such a great throwback.
When you go and you can't buy a ticket for Avengers because it's sold out, go see Supercon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
On 427.
Yeah, in one of those 10 theaters.
Yeah,
in one of the 10 theaters where.
Nope, I thought I lost you for a second there.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, go see Supercon. Support fun, offbeat comedy. We want to see more of this sort of stuff, and also
that's the thing. If you want to see Clancy Brown be both the bad guy and the funny guy, which is something he usually doesn't get to do because Clancy's hilarious in this thing. You get that if you're a lady and you love the Ryan Quanten from the True Blood. We got that. We got Maggie Russell's funny. Like we've got something for everybody. Mike Epps,
Yeah.
Mike Epps is in there. He's great. So we got a little bit of something for everybody.
Oh, I meant to ask you too. Mike Epps, the guy who plays his like enforcer bodyguard character.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a credit for him, and I recognize him, and it's been driving me crazy.
He's a wrestler. His name is Tyrus. But probably where he's known probably best from, he was actually Snoop's bodyguard for years. But where you probably know him best, or where you've seen him, he's on Fox News. He's a pundit on Fox News.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, people don't. Right? I tell people, and they're like, what? And the funny thing is, like, I've shown this to, like, my dad and a couple of, like, my wife's, you know, like, her uncles and her father and stuff, and they see him and they go, oh, he's on Fox.
That is
like,
so
they instantly
weird.
know him, but from Fox News, not as the wrestler.
That's funny.
Because he was on TNA and he was in WWE for a while, and George is a huge dude, but super nice. Super great guy.
Yeah, thank you for solving that mystery for me. It was driving me
funny.
crazy.
Yeah, no, that's him. That's him. They kept telling me when we were down there, because I had this part for Callahan, and they, you know, Tyrus isn't exactly Irish. And and they go, you got to see this guy. He's huge. You got to see him. And I'm a big guy myself. I'm like 6'4", you know, probably 285 right now. I'm a big guy. I was like, all right, let's see this guy. And he walked up. I was like, holy shit, you got the part. Like, it doesn't even matter. You're good, dude. Done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's awesome. I this movie's a trip. See it if you're high. That's probably that's an okay thing to go see this.
Won't hurt.
Like you're saying,
Won't hurt.
It definitely wouldn't hurt. So
if you're high, see it twice.
Yeah,
there you go.
It pairs nice with greens or whiskey or whatever you're into. Relax and relax.
Green, whatever. Juice box, your choice.
Yeah, Capri Sun.
Yeah, man.
Knock
It's all
it
good.
All right, thanks, guys. Hopefully, we'll get back together on the next thing, whatever that may be.
Yeah, man. It's a pleasure as always.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you take care.
Seems so much shorter than a week, but in some ways, a lot longer.
I know what you mean.
Hey there! Welcome home!
It's okay, Aunt Alex. I'm a man now.
Oh, thank you.
That reservation still standing? Barely.
And how you doing, little partner?
Fine. And it's Little Visitor now. Atawoyoli's how you say it in Cherokee.
Oh, well, pardon my French, but I'll be damned.
Walker told me I have AIDS.